Hello everyone, this is Rashid. Today I am going to discuss about a subject which is called strength of material, which is a very important subject. Most of the exam includes this subject. So we will take, as this is a demo class, so we will take one example and we will try to solve that example. Strength of materials. The example I am taking, which was asked in JEE 2019. So the question was a beam ABC, which is 16 meter long. I think this is visible in your screen, which is 16 meter long and supported at A and B. The AB is 12 meter and the overhanging portion BC is of 4 meter length. The beam carries two point load of 18 ton at 4 meter from A and 8 ton at C. The beam also carries a uniformly distributed load of 1.5 tons per meter from A to C. They are asking to draw the shear force and bending moment diagram for this particular beam. Now if you look at the screen, the beam is visible. This is my beam. Also I am showing in the board. So let's draw the beam. Say this is A, which is pin support or something called hinge. This is B, which is a roller support. Now they have said that the overall length of the beam is 16 meter. This is 16 meter. Say this is A, this is B, and this is C. So this is my ABC beam. So as B to C, it is 4 meter. 4 meter, it is clearly mentioned, the overhanging portion BC is 4 meter. Then from A to B, it will definitely be 12 meter because 16 minus 4 is 12. Now this beam is loaded by a point load which is of magnitude 18 ton. 18 ton, which is 4 meter from A. So if 12 minus 4, the remaining length will be 8 meter. There is another point load at C having magnitude 8 ton. And over the whole span of the beam, there is one UDL having intensity 1.5 ton per meter. 1.5 ton per meter. So this is the problem. Now how to draw the SFD and BMD? I will try to solve this problem stepwise procedure. So what is the first step? You can check your screen. The step 1 is draw the proper beam like simply supported or cantilever or overhanging the given etc. condition. So this beam, this is my beam, which is pin support at A, roller support at B, and there is overhanging. This is my beam. As per the question I have drawn. So this is my first step. What is the second step? It is visible in your screen. Place all the load in proper location of the beam given. Assume the direction of the unknown forces. Now what is unknown forces? Look at the board. This force is a known force, given force. This force is a known force, which is also given. This is also the force, which is also given, which is a known force. Now what is unknown force? As these forces are acting downward, then definitely to carry this amount of given load, A and B will have to give reaction to carry this given load. So I am assuming this A, which will give a reaction definitely in the vertical direction, but it is not sure, just we can assume. So the magnitude of A, this is RA, and the direction I am assuming in the upward direction. We know that force is a vector quantity, so definitely it will always have one magnitude as well as direction. As this is a force, so I have to assume two things. One is the magnitude, another one is direction. Similarly, if we talk about the reaction at B, say I am assuming the magnitude is RB, that means reaction at B, and the direction also I am assuming in the upward direction. So this is the second step. Now look at the screen. What is the third step? In the third step, it is saying that calculate the unknown forces. So, third step, I need to find the RA and RB. So, how to find this RA and RB? For RA and RB, we need to know whether the beam is a determinant structure, the given beam is a determinant structure or indeterminate structure. Now, what is called determinant and indeterminate structure? Look at the board. For determinant structure, we need to know something called equilibrium equation. Whether the body is in equilibrium or not, that we need to know. When a body will be called as equilibrium, when I will sum, this is sum, all the forces in the x direction, and that should resolve to 0. Okay? If I sum all the forces acting on this beam in the x direction, means in the horizontal direction, and if that resultant is 0, then the body is in static equilibrium. Similarly, if I sum all the forces in the vertical direction and the resultant force should be equal to 0, then the body will be called as in static equilibrium. Similarly, if I sum all the moment about any point, say A, resultant should be equal to 0. Now remember that these summation should be done algebraically. Algebraically means what? If say I'm talking about these horizontal forces. If a force is in the positive x direction, say you are taking that is positive, then in the negative x directional force will be considered as negative. Similarly, in this condition, if a force is downward, then say you are assuming downward is positive, then definitely in y directional upward force will be considered as negative. Similarly, in this equation, we will consider clockwise movement as positive and anti-clockwise movement as negative, always. This is always, okay? Whenever you will use this equation, you need to follow this rule. Clockwise movement is positive, anti-clockwise movement is negative. Please try to remember this. Now, what is a determinant structure? A structure is said to be determinant when the number of unknown forces, these are my unknown forces. As this is a roller, there will be one another unknown forces. Say, this is also assuming magnitude is HA and the behavior is towards the right. Why? Because I don't know, just an assumption. So if the number of unknown forces here in this beam, there is a 3 number of unknown forces, HA, RA and RB. So if the number of unknown forces is equal to number of equilibrium equation, then the structure will be called as determinant structure. It is very simple. When the number of unknown forces in case of a particular beam is equal to the number of equilibrium equation, then the structure will be called as determinant structure. When the number of unknown forces are more than number of equilibrium equation, the structure will be called as indeterminate structure. Okay? When the number of unknown forces are more than the number of equilibrium equation, then the structure will be called as indeterminate structure. Similarly, when the number of unknown forces are less than number of equilibrium equation, the structure will be called as unstable structure. Okay? It is be called as unstable structure. I hope you got the point. How we can determine whether a structure will be called as determinant, whether it will be called as indeterminate, whether it will be called as unstable. Now in this problem, as the number of unknown forces is 3 and I have 3 number of equilibrium equation, so my structure is a determinant structure. The given structure or given problem is a kind of determinant structure. So whatever the solution I will show you, that solution will be done considering the given problem as a determinant problem. Okay, so far we came to know the given problem is a determinant problem, as I have 3 unknown forces and I have 3 equilibrium equation. But in some other problem, if you find that the number of unknown forces is more than the number of equilibrium equation, that means if your structure is a indeterminate structure, then how can we find the unknown forces? There is something called force method and something called displacement method you need to follow. displacement method. Displacement method. Okay, for indeterminate structure. Now, why I will use the concept of determinate structure to solve this problem? Because there are three equations and I have three unknown force. So, solving one equation, I can find one unknown force. So, if I solve the three equation, then I can find these three unknown forces. Okay. So, let's see what is the next step in your screen. The next step, which is a 3, calculate the shear force at each specific location. Now, what is the shear force? It is also saying that it is the algebraic sum of lateral or vertical loads either to the left or right of the chosen point. And this can be done very easily by your calculator. Now, look at the board. What is shear force? Say I am interested to find the shear force at D. What is the amount of shear force at D? Then what I need to do? I need to cut at D. And I need to consider either the left side or the right side. Say in this problem, I am considering the left side. Now I need to add these vertical forces. This is my vertical force in the upward direction. UDL will give me a downward vertical force in the downward direction. Algebraic means if you are considering upward as a positive, then definitely downward will be negative. So plus RA minus the magnitude of this amount of UDL, what will be the remaining force? That will be the amount of shear force at D, considering the left side. Say you are not considering the left side, you are considering the right side. Then what you need to do? Say upward positive. So RB positive minus 8 ton minus the load due to this amount of UDL. What is the resultant amount of force? That will be the shear force at D. And the answer by solving this side definitely will be equal to the answer solving by this side. Okay. Similarly, if you are interested to find the shear force, say at B. So you need to cut here, you need to consider either the left side or the right side. Say you are considering the left side, then RA, say you are assuming upward force is positive because you are doing algebraic sum, then definitely these amount of UDL need to be deducted from RA. And the 18 ton need to be deducted from RA. What is the remaining force? That is the amount of shear force at B. Similarly, if we consider the right side at the same time, then say this is downward negative, this amount of UDL negative. What is the resultant answer? That is the shear force at B. So calculation of shear force at B from the right side definitely will be equal to the calculated shear force from the left side. Okay, so this is how you need to find the shear forces at the specific location. What is specific location? At least the points where the loads are meeting and acting. This is the point where load is acting. Point load, you need to find the shear force at A. This is the point D, say D, where point load and UDL is acting and meeting. So you need to find the shear force here. Similarly, here also point load and the UDL is meeting. So you need to find the shear force here. Similarly, at the point C also, you need to find the shear forces. Now, let's see what is the next step. Step number 4. Look at the screen. Step number 4 is saying that convert the values of all shear force into length unit approximately, not by scale. That's why it's saying that approximately. And plot the length values on the beam at the respective location with proper sign convention. Now look at the board. What he is saying? Once you will calculate the shear force at A, that will be a force value. Force value, because shear force is force. Similarly, shear force at D is force. Shear force at B is a force. Shear force at C is a force. Now we need to convert that force value into a length unit to draw the SFD. But that is not mandatory to have an scale. Or by eye approximation also, you can convert these forces into length unit. But while you will start to draw the SFD, you need to follow some sign convention. Now what is that sign convention? Look at here. So this is one standard beam. I am dividing that beam by left side and right side. Okay. Now say you are starting the beam from the left side and you have seen that in the left side there is a upward force. Once you will start to draw the SFD from the left side and you have observed that in the extreme left there is a upward force, then you need to consider that left up is positive. Okay, left side upward force always need to start to draw from the positive direction. Similarly, if left up is positive, if you find that in the left side there is a downward force, you need to consider that is negative. That means your diagram should draw from negative direction. Similarly, if left up is positive, then definitely right up will be negative. And if you have seen that in the right side you have started to draw and there is a presence of downward force, you need to consider to be positive. This is the sign convention you need to follow once you will calculate the shear forces at the different location to draw the SFD. Now let's see what is the next step. Step number 5. Look at the screen. Connect all the extreme points by the following rules as shown under different loading type condition. Now what is the rule you need to follow to connect the shear forces at the different locations? If you have a point load, then the slope for shear force diagram is a constant. That means in this portion from this point to this point there is no load condition. So on the no load shear force is constant. Okay, and within this no load condition bending moment is a inclined straight line. You need to follow this. Similarly, if you have a uniformly distributed load, under the uniformly distributed load your shear force is a inclined straight line. You need to connect by inclined straight line. I think it is visible on your screen. Similarly, under the UDL, your bending moment diagram is a parabolic. Similarly, if your load is a uniformly bearing load, your SFD will be parabolic. Here it will be parabolic. Okay, but bending moment diagram will be cubic parabola. You need to follow this rule to draw the or to connect the shear forces at the different locations. Now what is SFD? Shear force diagram is a diagram which shows the variation of concentrated loads or lateral loads along the length of the beam. So remember that here is a note. You need to remember that while drawing SFD you need not to think about the bending moment. Say in your beam, look at the screen, in your beam say there is a presence of concentrated moment or presence of any bracketed connection. This concentrated moment or bracket will create some moment. So while you are drawing SFD, no need to consider the presence of this concentrated moment or no need to consider the presence of bracketed connection, which also will cause the moment. SFD only will show you the variation of lateral or vertical forces. Okay. See what is the next step in your screen. Calculate the bending moments at the specific points of the beam. We need to calculate the bending moments at the specific locations of the beam. One thing you need to remember, if during this calculation, if you found that there is a presence of UDL, you need to convert the UDL into a point load. Now what is the specific location where you need to find the bending moments? It is also saying that at both ends of the beam. You need to find the bending moment at least at the both ends of the beam. Similarly, at all locations where point load is acting, and importantly where the maximum bending moment is occurring. Where the maximum bending moment occurs? Maximum bending moment always occurs where the shear force becomes 0. Okay, so these are the minimum location where you need to find the bending moment. Now to calculate the bending moment, you need to know what is called bending moment. Now what is bending moment? Bending moment is equal to force into perpendicular distance between the point of application of the force and the point where you are interested to find the bending moment. Look at the board, I can show you. Say I am interested to find the bending moment at A due to the point load acting on D. Now what is bending moment? At A is equal to force into perpendicular distance. What is the force? Force is the 18 ton. And what is the distance? 4. So 18 into 4 ton meter amount of moment is acting at A due to the presence of point load at D. Similarly, say I am interested to find the bending moment at B due to 8 ton, then it will be 8 into 4. 8 ton meter, 8 into 4 ton meter amount of moment is created at B due to the presence of point load at C, which is of magnitude 8 ton. So, bending moment at a point is equal to force into perpendicular distance between the point where the force is acting and the point where you are interested to find the bending moment. So, look at the next step in your screen. Plot all the calculated bending moments at the respective points on the beam. Now, in this step number 7, you need to follow the sign convention for beam that I will show you in the board. How the bending moment can be identified as positive and negative. Once you will plot the bending moments at the respective points considering the sign convention positive and negative, you need to connect all the points by the rule as shown before. I have shown you under different kinds of load what will be the shape of bending moment as well as the shear force. So here you need to follow the rules shown in the bending moments under different types of loads. Now let's see at the board what is the sign convention we need to follow while drawing or while connecting the different bending moments at the different location of the beam. Here I follow this rule. Say under the action of the load, your beam is undergoing a shape which is similar to luffing. Okay? If we apply some loads on the beam, then beam will undergo some deformation or the final shape will be something like this. If due to the application of the load, your beam is undergoing this shape, then the bending moment over this portion will be considered as positive. In book, it says that if your beam is undergoing in the shape of sagging under the action of the load, then sagging bending moment will be called as positive bending moment. Similarly, if your beam is undergoing a crying behavior under the action of the load, your shape of the beam is happen something like this. Say this is crying, this is in the similar shape as a crying, so your bending moment will be negative. Okay, this in book is called hogging moments are always considered as negative bending moment. Okay, so say you are calculating the bending moment at D. Now what is happening because of application of this load over this AB portion, say it is creating a hogging or in the shape of crying, then because of this load whatever the amount of moment is acting at D, that can be considered as negative. Say because of RA whatever the amount of bending moment is calculating at D, this causing in the shape of say luffing or in the shape of sagging, then because of RA whatever the amount of moment will create at D, that bending moment will be considered as positive. Similarly, say I am considering at B, because of UDL, say my shape of the beam, that is BC, is undergoing say hogging or crying, then because of this 8 ton or this UDL, whatever the amount of moment is creating at B, that need to be considered as negative. So once you will calculate all those bending moments by considering sign convention, you need to plot the bending moments. As you have converted the shear force value into a length, you need to draw the SFD. Similarly, here also, once you will plot the bending moments at the different locations, you need to convert that bending moments into the length unit, and you need to connect that extreme points by following the rule as shown. The final diagram whatever you will get, that diagram will be called as bending moment diagram. So if you look at the screen, what is the definition of the BMD? BMD is a diagram which shows the variation of bending moments along the length of the beam. Okay? While drawing SFD, you have ignored the bending moments. Now in this diagram, you need to consider the bending moments. Here you need not to consider the presence of lateral or vertical load while drawing BMD. Okay? So this is all about the theory behind the shear force diagram and the bending moment diagram. So now let's see the problem which we have taken, which was asked in JEE 2019. we will try to solve the problem as per the steps I have discussed, and I have believed that you will get the clear idea how to draw the SFD and BMD. Let's start to solve the problem. So let's see how to solve this problem by following the steps that I have discussed earlier. You need to follow each and every step. If you can have the grab on the steps, you can solve any kind of problem of this category. So what was the first step? I have discussed the first step is you need to draw the beam as per the problem. What was the second step? You need to give the proper loading in the proper position. These are the loading. In the third step, or I think in the second step, I have included the assumption of unknown forces by magnitude as well as by direction. So up to this it is already shown. Now in the third step we need to find whether the problem is of determinant or indeterminate structure. Once you can find whether the structure is a determinant or indeterminate, you can find the unknown forces. Now as in this problem, as I have already discussed, there is 3 unknown forces, 3 equilibrium equation. The problem can be solved by the 3 equilibrium equation. So this problem is a determinate structure. So we need to find the unknown forces. Now let's see, by using these equilibrium equation, how can we find the unknown forces. So what was my first equilibrium equation? Summation of fx is equal to 0. What does it mean? If I sum all the forces in the x direction of the given beam, all the forces need to be sum algebraically, resultant should need to be 0. Implies, what are, you look at the beam, what are the horizontal forces? This is not horizontal, this UDL is not horizontal acting vertically, RB is not horizontal, RA is not horizontal, 8 ton is not horizontal. Only HA, which I have assumed there is a presence of HA, we don't know the magnitude, and we have also assumed the direction in the rightward direction. Say rightward is positive, HA, say rightward positive, then if there is remain one in the leftward directional x directional forces, I will consider negative. But if you check in this beam, there is no other horizontal forces either in the leftward direction or in the rightward direction. So I will write plus 0 is equal to 0. What does it mean? If I solve, our horizontal force HA is equal to 0. That means the presence of horizontal force at A does not affect the structure because it has no magnitude. Similarly, if I solve the second equilibrium equation, summation of Fy is equal to 0, what does it mean? If I sum all the forces in the y direction algebraically, means if I consider, for example, upward is positive and downward is negative, then the resultant should need to be equal to 0. Say here I am considering upward positive and downward is negative. So I am starting from the left side and try to find the forces which is upward or downward. RA upward, so implies plus RA. There is another upward which is RB, so plus RB. Is there any other upward forces? No, in the y direction. Only now there is a downward forces. What are the downward forces? So first one is 18, so it will be minus 18 ton. Similarly, there is another unknown force, known forces 8 ton which is acting downward, so it will be minus 8 ton. There is another downward force which is our UDL. Now we need to convert the UDL into a point load because this is a point load, this is a point load. So UDL need to be converted into a point load. Now what is the behavior of the load? In 1 meter it is saying that it has a magnitude of 1.5 ton. How much length it is distributing? It is distributing over the length of 16 meter. So what will be the total point load because of the UDL? It will be 1.5 ton per meter. How much meter it is distributing? 16 meter. So 1.5 into 16 is the total point load because of the UDL. Is there any other upward or downward forces? No. So that should be equal to 0. Now solve it for these RA and RB. You will find that RA plus RB is equal to 50 ton. You can solve this very easily by using your calci. You will find that RA plus RB is equal to 50 ton. So for our reference, we are giving a name. So this is 1 because there is a two unknown forces, one equation you can't solve. We need to go to the third equilibrium equation, which is summation of m is equal to 0. I need to sum all the moment about a point excuse me, about a point, any point. Say I am summing all the moment about a point A. So I will sum all the moment about a point A, considering already I have told you, whenever I will use this equation, my clockwise movement will be positive and anti-clockwise movement will be negative. Okay, so let's see how we can find the moments about A. So let's check. I am considering about point A and I am calculating the moments occurring due to the other forces. So say because of this 18 ton there will be a moment. So because of presence of 18 ton, what will be the moment? Force into distance is my moment. So moment will be 18 into 4. Is it clockwise or anti-clockwise? Because 18 ton is in downward direction. Because of downward direction, 18 ton will try to rotate the portion AD in the clockwise direction. So it will cause positive. So positive 18 ton into 4 meter. Okay, got it? This is my moment, force into perpendicular distance. Similarly, once again, there is another point load which is also acting downward, having the magnitude 8 ton. And what is the distance between this 8 ton and A? This is 16 meter. It is also causing clockwise because 8 ton is in the downward direction. So what is the moment? 8 into plus 8 ton into 16 meter. This is the amount of moment which is occurring due to the presence of 8 ton 16 meter away from A. Similarly, if I consider the point A, I have another force which is the UDL. Because of UDL also A will feel some moment. Now what will be that moment? First you need to convert the UDL into a single point load. And we know that whenever I will convert a UDL into a single point load, that single point load will act over the CG of the loaded area. I am again telling you, whenever I will convert the UDL into a single point load, that single point load will act at the CG of the loaded area. Now this is my loaded area, which is 1.5 ton is occurring at 1 meter. Now if I convert 1.5 ton into 16 meter, how much amount of load? That load will act at the half length of the total loaded area. It is not mandatory that it is acting at the center of the beam. No, it will act at the center of the loaded area. Say what will be the total load then? 1.5 into 16 is my total load. That total load will act over the whole loaded area. Loaded area is 16, then 16 by 2 is the location where this total load is acting. Say somewhere here this total load is acting 1.5 into 16. This is my total load. Now this total load is acting at a distance of 8 meter. So 1.5 into 16 by 2 or 8 is the amount of moment which is causing due to the UDL at point A. It is also creating clockwise. So it will be plus 1.5 ton per meter into 16 meter is my total load into 16 by 2 meter, or you can say directly 8. Is there any other force which is remaining? No. There are two forces, RA and HA. You can consider, which is also acting at A, but RA will not be come into the picture, because if we consider moment because of RA at A, there is no perpendicular distance. Similarly, HA also cannot create at the moment at A, because HA doesn't have any perpendicular distance with the A. So I am not considering that point. So resultant is equal to 0. If you solve this equation by your calci, you will find that you can find for this. Okay, I have one another force. Sorry. I have one another force which is RB. I have not considered the RB. RB will also cause some moment to A. Now what is the moment is causing by RB at A? RB is in the upward direction. So RB will cause a anti-clockwise moment. What will be the moment? I don't know the magnitude of RB. So RB into 12 meter. It will be negative. Minus RB or 12 meter into RB is equal to 0. Now there is no other forces. Now if you look at the equation, there is only one unknown and other is the magnitude values. So if you solve this equation by your calculator, you will find that RB, which you will get a positive answer of 32.67 ton. I get the answer positive. I have assumed the direction of the RB in the upward direction. So my assumption is correct. That means the assumption which was assumed that RB is in the upward direction is okay, because you are getting a positive answer. Say after solving this problem you are getting RB as a negative answer, that means your assumption was wrong. You need to convert the RB not in the upward direction, in the downward direction you need to change. Okay, but in this problem we are getting the positive answer, so assumption was correct. Similarly, if you put the value of RB in the equation 1, you can solve for RA. So from equation 1, if we solve for RA, you will find that RA is equal to 17.33 ton. This is also positive. So the assumption of RA in the upward direction is also correct. So RA is equal to 17.33 ton in the upward direction is calculated. Similarly, RB, which is 32.67 ton, which is also in the upward direction, is also correct. Okay, so till now we have calculated the unknown forces. The H is 0, RA 17.33 ton, and my RB, which is 32.67 ton. So step number 3, where I have said that we need to calculate the unknown forces, is over. Now what is the next step? That is step number 4. Step number 4 has said that we need to find the shear forces at the specific location. And as I have already told you, shear force is the algebraic sum of lateral or the concentrated load either to the left or right of the section. This concept can be simplified by using your calci. I will show you how to do that. Say I am interested to find the calculate the shear force at A. So I will write shear force at A. If I cut here, only this amount of force will be there. Right side, left side there is no force. Right side there is only RA. So this is 17.33 ton. Now should I consider positive or negative? I have started calculating from the left side, and in the left side there is a vertical force. So if you check the rule of sign convention for the shear force diagram, this should be positive. Okay, always you need to follow this rule. If you start to draw or calculate the shear force from the left side, and in the left side there is upward force, you need to consider positive. Similarly, I want to calculate the shear force D. So shear force at D, you have two forces. One is UDL, one is point load. UDL is ending here at D, and exactly at D there is 18 ton. So at first you need to solve for this UDL. Then you can consider the 18 ton. Otherwise you will get confused. At this point, whether this load you will consider or not, or 18 ton you will consider. So for clarification of that, say first we are deducting because we are doing algebraic sum, we will deduct from RA, because RA positive, RA minus at first this amount of UDL. Then in the next step, from that resultant force, I will add or remove this 18 ton. So look at here, I am writing just before D, because just before D there is a UDL. So I have already 17.33, which is plus, which is upward. So downward will be what? Negative. What is the amount of downward force because of this UDL? 1.5 ton per meter. How much meter? 4 meter. So minus 1.5 ton per meter into 4 meter. Okay, so if you solve by your calci, you will get the answer of plus 11.33 ton. This is the amount of shear force just before D. Now shear force exactly at D, where I need to consider this 18 ton downward forces. This is downward. So again, this is the algebraic sum up to the just before D. So again, I need to deduct this 18 ton from here. This is 11.33. Already algebraic sum has done, minus 18 ton. So if you minus it, you will get the answer of minus 6.67 ton. So this is the algebraic sum of the forces left of the section. What is the remaining resultant force? This is the amount of resultant force. So this is the amount of shear force is acting at D. Similarly, at B there is a end of UDL and there is a point load. So again you need to first deduct this force from this amount of algebraically summed force. So just before B, SF before B is equal to, already algebraic sum is done up to the D, so minus 6.67. Again I need to deduct this force because upward positive, so all the downward will be negative. It is 1.5 into how much distance? 8 meter. So minus 1.5 ton per meter into 8 meter. If you solve it, you will get minus 18.67 ton. Minus 18.67 ton just before B. Now up to this is over. Now at B there is a upward force. Already you have seen upward is positive. So I have to already algebraic summed force is minus 18.67. So plus RV will give the shear force at B. So SF at B will be equal to minus 18.67 ton plus, because upward, RB is upward, plus 32.67 ton is equal to plus 32.67 ton is equal to plus 14 ton. It will be better if you follow with your calculation with me, you will get the answer plus 14 ton of shear force at B. Now I have calculated the shear force up to B. This is already algebraically summed value. So just before C I can calculate SF before C, because at C also there is a meeting of two loads. Before C is equal to already summed value is plus 14 ton. Again this amount of UDL is also acting downward, so it will be 1.5 times how much length? 4. So minus 1.5 ton per meter into 4 meter. If you solve it, you will get the answer plus 8 ton. Okay, so just before C your shear force is plus 8 ton. Now plus 8 ton is also a algebraically sound value. Now with that there is a downward force of 8 ton. So shear force at C, exactly at C, is equal to plus 8 ton is the already algebraically sound value, and there is a downward force which is minus magnitude is 8 ton. So answer of the shear force at exactly C is 0. Remember that always whenever you will calculate the shear force from this side, at the end of the other side of the beam, you need not to get the answer 0, because shear force diagram is a closed curved diagram. It can never be remain with some magnitude. If you are remaining with some magnitude, you need to understood that you have done somewhere in the calculation a mistake. Okay, so this is how we can find the shear forces at the different locations by using only your calculator. Okay, now let's draw the SFD. Please look at your screen. Now in your screen you have seen that this is a beam where we have calculated the RA in the upward direction. So this is my say RA upward direction, RB in the upward direction. Okay, now as RA in the upward direction, I have drawn another reference line. Reference line is nothing but the beam. This is my reference line, which is nothing but my beam. Now in this beam, I am start to draw the shear force diagram from the left side, and in the left side there is a RA force which is upward. So I have marked the 17.33 in the positive portion by I approximation. Similarly at D there is a one force 11.33 which is positive. At just D there is a negative force 6.67 which is drawing downward, because I am considering the above this line positive, below this line negative. Similarly at B there is a negative force of 18.67 negative and 14 ton positive. Similarly, just before C, there is a 8 ton negative, and at C, this is 0. Okay, now I just need to connect the points, these extreme points, by the following the rule of the table I have shown to you. Now let's draw the SFD. I am going upward. I am connecting this point 17.33. Now in between these point A and D, there is a presence of what? This length of having UDL. So under UDL, what is the shape of the SFD? Please follow the table. You will find that under UDL, SFD will be inclined straight line. So 17.33 and 11.33 will be connected by a inclined straight line. If you look at this, I am connecting by an inclined straight line. Now at D, 11.33 and 6.67 it is the same point, so I need to connect by a vertical line. Now from 6.67 or from D point to B point, there is what? There is a UDL. From here to here there is a UDL. So for the UDL again, SFD is inclined straight line. So 6.67 and 18.67 need to be connected by inclined straight line. Okay. Now 18.67 and 14.0 is acting on the same point. So just connecting by a vertical line. Similarly, from B to C there is a UDL. So what will be the shape of the SFD? It will be again the inclined straight line. So 14 and 8 will be connected by inclined straight line. This 8 and 0 is on the same point, so I need to connect by vertical line. So whatever the final shape we are getting, above the reference line or above the beam is positive and below the reference line is negative. For reference, you can have the hatching of this diagram for clarity. So this is the SFD we have drawn. Please remember that while drawing this SFD, I have not considered any bending moments present on this beam, because presence of bending moment will be understood by the bending moment diagram. Now, so far we have shown the bending shear force diagram. Now for the next step, we need to find the bending moments at the different or specific points of the beam. Now say I am interested to find the bending moment at A. Okay, so at A, I need to cut the beam, my right portion of the beam, and I have cut at A. Okay, now I need to find the bending moment at A. So this, if you look at the RB is causing a movement. RB is causing a movement in this direction. Okay, so what will be the shape of AB because of RB? Because A is fixed, so the shape will be something like this. This shape is similar to laughing or crying. This shape is similar to laughing. So RB is causing a movement of 32.67 ton into this length. This length is how much? 12 meter. So 32.67 ton into 12 meter amount of movement is occurring at A because of RB, which is having a nature of positive. So plus, if you look at the equation, plus 32.67 ton into 12 meter is the positive amount of movement which is occurring because of 32.67 at A. Similarly, next load, say 18 ton, this is my 18 ton. The 18 ton, this 18 ton is creating a moment of 18 into, what is the length? 4 meter. So 18 into 4 meter, A is fixed, this will cause this type of shape. This is similar to the crying condition. So crying means negative, so 18 into 4 will be negative. So negative 18 into 4 ton meter amount of movement is occurring at A. Similarly, another force which is 8 ton. 8 ton is also acting downward. So 8 ton, A is fixed, will cause a movement which will be having the nature of, just hold on, which will be having the nature of crying. Okay. So this 8 ton is creating a negative moment. 8 into the distance is 16. Similarly, if you remove this line, similarly there is a UDL. UDL will need to be converted into a point load. Say the point load will act at the CG of the loaded area. What is the loaded area now? 16. Now what will be the total load? Total load will be 1.5 into 16. This is my total load. This total load will also create negative moment. So negative 1.5 into 16 is total load into distance. So if you solve it, you will get 0 bending moment at A. Okay. Similarly, if I am interested to find the bending moment at D, I need to cut at D and I need to consider left side or right side. Say I am considering the right side of the D. Now, in the right side there is one RA upward force and one UDL. Now, if I am interested to find the bending moment at D, D will be fixed. RA will try to rotate the AD, portion AD. So, AD will be something like this, because I am interested to find the bending moment at D and D should be fixed. So, RA will rotate the AD portion in this way. So, it will be in the shape of laughing. So, 17.33 into 4 amount of moment will create it at D, which will be positive. So, 17.33 into 4 is the positive bending moment occurring due to the presence of RA at D. Okay. Similarly, there is another force which is 1.5 ton per meter, which need to be converted into a point load. So, the point load will be 1.5 into, what is the length? 4 meter. This is my 4 meter distributed. So, 1.5 into 4 will be total load, which will also act downward direction. So, because of this downward direction, D is fixed, it will create a negative moment. It is in the shape of crying. So, negative 1.5 into 4, the total load into 4 by 2, because it will act at the center 4 by 2. This is the distance 4 by 2. This is the moment. So, at D, there is a moment of 57.32 ton meter. Similarly, at B, I have cut at B from the original beam and I have considered the right portion. Any side you can consider, you will get the same answer. Either from the left side or right side, you will get the same answer. So, from the right side, if I consider this 8 ton is downward direction. So, 8 ton B is fixed as because I am interested to find the bending moment at D. Because of fixity, the 8 ton will try to rotate the BC portion as a crying. So, 8 into this 4 meter, 8 into 4 meter will cause a movement which will be in the nature of negative. So, minus 8 ton meter is the negative moment. Okay. Similarly, there is a one UDL. What is the total UDL now? Total UDL will be 1.5 into 4, because 4 meter distributed. So, 1.5 into 4 also will cause crying. So, this is the shape, this will be the shape, crying. So, crying also negative. So, negative 1.5 into 4 is the total load into distance. So, minus 44 ton meter amount of movement is occurring at B. Similarly, if you calculate for C, you will get the 0. And remember, always in the overhanging portion, bending moment always becomes 0. So, now if you plot the bending moments at the different location by your eye estimation, say this is my A where the bending moment was 0. At D, we have calculated at D 57.32, this is 57.32 by eye estimation, which is positive, D was positive. Okay. B minus 44, so this is 44, which is minus because above this line is positive and below this reference line it is negative. So, minus 44, and at C is 0. Now, between A and D there was UDL, between A and D there was UDL. So, because of UDL, the shape of the curve is becoming parabolic. You can follow the table which I have shown to you. This will be parabolic, because under the UDL, shape of the bending moment diagram is a parabola. Okay. Now, similarly, between D to B also there is a UDL, so it will also be parabolic. Similarly, from B to C also there is a presence of UDL, so it will also be parabolic. So, the final diagram, you can hash it. This portion is the positive bending moment and this portion is the negative bending moment, and the final diagram is called bending moment diagram. So, this is all about the bending moment and shear force diagram. I hope this is clear to you. There are a lot of things we need to discuss. That portion, the remaining portion we can discuss at the class. So, I welcome you all to join the classes for get more clarity. Thank you.